You are spending $4 to $6 per pound on potatoes at the grocery store. A family of 4 eats maybe 200 pounds of potatoes per year. That is $800 to $1,200 every year on a crop you could be growing in your backyard for less than $50. And the tragedy is that you are waiting until April to plant them when you could be planting in late January and harvesting in May, a full 8 weeks before anyone else in your neighborhood has a single potato ready. This is not about luck or having better soil. This is about understanding one simple truth that most gardeners have forgotten. Potatoes do not need warm weather to grow. They need cool weather to establish roots. Here is what this changes. Plant potatoes in late January using the trench method, and you will harvest 40 to 50 pounds of new potatoes per 10-foot row by mid-May. Wait until April like everyone else, and you will get 10 to 15 pounds from the same row in July. That is 3 to 4 times more production from the same space, the same seed potatoes, the same amount of work, just planted 10 weeks earlier. The system has 3 groups of potatoes you need to understand. First earlies are the speed champions, varieties like Swift and Rocket that go from planting to harvest in 75 to 90 days. These are what you plant in late January for a May harvest. Second earlies take 100 to 110 days and include varieties like Yukon Gold and Red Pontiac. These go in the ground in February for a June harvest. Main crop potatoes take 120 to 140 days and are varieties like Russet Burbank and Kennebec. These are planted in March for a late summer harvest and long-term storage. Here is where most people fail with early potatoes. The first mistake is waiting for the soil to warm up. They think potatoes need 50-degree soil to grow when the truth is that seed potatoes will sprout and establish roots in 35 to 40-degree soil as long as the ground is not frozen solid. The second mistake is planting whole potatoes instead of chit seed pieces. Chitting means pre-sprouting your seed potatoes indoors for 4 to 6 weeks before planting, so they wake up and develop strong shoots that are ready to grow the moment they hit the soil. The third and most critical mistake is shallow planting. People drop potatoes 4 inches deep and wonder why frost kills them. The late January method uses a trench 8 to 10 inches deep that protects the seed pieces from freezing while allowing the shoots to emerge when the soil warms in March. And the fourth mistake is choosing the wrong varieties. You cannot plant main crop potatoes in January and expect them to survive. You must use first earlies bred specifically for cold tolerance and fast maturity. The 3 non-negotiable laws of the late January potato system are these. First is chitting. You must pre-sprout your seed potatoes indoors starting in mid-December. This gives them a 6-week head start so that by late January they have strong 1-inch shoots ready to push through cold soil. Second is trench depth. Your planting trench must be 8 to 10 inches deep, not 4 inches. This depth protects the seed pieces from hard freezes while the shoots establish themselves underground. Third is variety selection. You must use certified first early varieties. These are bred for cold tolerance and rapid growth. Planting a Russet Burbank in January is a recipe for failure. John Seymour understood what modern gardening has forgotten. The potato is not a warm weather crop. It is a cool season crop that evolved in the high Andes where nights are cold and frost is common. The potato wants to grow in cool soil and cool air. It wants to establish roots when the ground is 40 degrees and put on foliage when the air is 55 to 65 degrees. Hot weather above 80 degrees actually stops tuber formation. This is why potatoes planted in late January outproduce potatoes planted in April. The January potatoes grow during the cool, wet spring when conditions are perfect. The April potatoes grow during the hot, dry summer when conditions are terrible. Here is exactly how the system works, step by step. In mid-December, you order certified seed potatoes, specifically first early varieties like Swift, Rocket, or Foremost. These arrive in early January. You place them in egg cartons or shallow trays in a cool, bright room, 50 to 60 degrees with indirect sunlight. This is called chitting. Over the next 4 to 6 weeks, the eyes will develop thick green shoots about 1 inch long. In the 3rd week of January, you prepare your planting trench. Choose a south-facing location with full sun and well-drained soil. Mark out rows running east to west, 30 inches apart. Dig a trench 8 to 10 inches deep and 6 inches wide. Place the excavated soil alongside the trench. In the bottom of the trench, Spread a 2-inch layer of compost or well-rotted manure. This feeds the soil organisms that will feed your potatoes. In the 4th week of January, when your seed potatoes have strong shoots, you plant them. Place each seed potato in the trench, shoots pointing up, 12 inches apart. Cover them with 3 to 4 inches of the excavated soil, leaving a shallow depression along the row. Do not fill the trench completely. You will fill it gradually as the shoots emerge. Water the row lightly if the soil is dry, but do not saturate it. Cold, wet soil causes rot. For the next 6 to 8 weeks, you watch and wait. As the shoots emerge and grow 4 to 6 inches tall, you earth them up. This means pulling soil from the sides of the trench over the base of the shoots, covering all but the top 2 inches of foliage. This protects the plants from late frost and encourages more tuber formation along the buried stems. You repeat this earthing up process 2 or 3 times as the plants grow until the original trench is completely filled and you have created a raised ridge along the row. By mid-May, your plants will be flowering. This signals that new potatoes are ready to harvest. You do not wait for the foliage to die back like you would with main crop potatoes. You harvest new potatoes while the plants are still green and growing. The return on investment is staggering. A 50-pound bag of certified seed potatoes costs $40 to $50 and will plant 4 10-foot rows. Those 4 rows will produce 160 to 200 pounds of new potatoes by mid-May. At $4 per pound for organic new potatoes at the store, that is $640 to $800 worth of food from a $50 investment and maybe 6 hours of work spread over 4 months. This is not about saving money. This is about food security. It is about having fresh new potatoes in May when the grocery store is selling last year's storage potatoes for $6 per pound. It is about knowing that you have a crop in the ground that will feed your family for months. It is about the quiet confidence that comes from producing real food from your own land using skills that have fed humans for thousands of years. Picture this. It is the 2nd week of May. Your neighbors are just planting their gardens. You walk out to your potato patch with a garden fork. The foliage is green and flowering. You slide the fork into the soil 8 inches from the plant and lever it gently. The plant lifts and underneath you see them. Smooth golden potatoes the size of eggs. Dozens of them clustered around the roots. You reach down and pick them, still cool from the earth. You fill a basket with 10 pounds from a single plant. That evening you boil them with butter and fresh herbs. They taste nothing like store-bought potatoes. They taste like spring, like soil, like the result of a decision you made 16 weeks ago to plant in January instead of waiting for April. This is what real self-sufficiency looks like. Not a perfect vegetable garden that takes all summer, but a system that produces abundant food in spring when you need it most. The late January potato system is not a gamble. It is a calculated strategy based on understanding what potatoes actually need to thrive. Plant these potatoes this January, and come back in May, not to thank me, but to share your harvest with neighbors who are still waiting for warm weather.